Wow, that was...
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey everybody, it's me. It's episode 41 of the Fucking Ridiculous podcast. It occurred to me while I was taking a shower that if you are tuning in for the very first time, you may not know what the Fucking Ridiculous podcast is. And so for that, I will just do this brief little explanation. The Fucking Ridiculous podcast is a podcast that basically celebrates the low lights of life. The stupid shit that happens to me, you, anyone on a daily basis that is typically kind of frustrating and annoying, but at the end of the day, you just really have to laugh at it because there's no other thing to do about it. You don't want to be mad your whole life. Examples of fucking ridiculous are, adult acne. Fucking ridiculous. The fact that you come outside to record your podcast and your neighbor decides to mow their lawn right then. Ridiculous. When you get a root concealer and it turns orange, that's also fucking ridiculous. If you have not yet subscribed or followed via YouTube, Apple, or Spotify, please do. And you can either Google instructions on how to do that, or if you're on YouTube, it'll just say subscribe. If you're on Spotify, it will say follow. And if you're on Apple, it will say one or the other. Please, and thank you. If you want more content, just silly little shit that happens throughout the day, you can go to Instagram. That's probably the best place, which is at the FR Pod. I do actually think that my neighbor must have forgotten to pick up a child because he stopped mowing that grass really fast and ran in and is now jetting out in his car. So, oops. No judgment there because we've all been there. Shout outs. So my neighbor, Catherine, she's the mom of the neighbor nieces and Goldie, the ferocious poodle. Yesterday, she brought over a plant from her yard that she had just split, just because she's so handy that way, and planted it for me in my yard. She asked me first, but I'm, of course, anything that anyone can do to make my yard better, I'm super happy about. So thank you, Catherine. I know you hate living next to my yard, but we're good people. Shout out number 2, Fatty. Fatty just ran the Boston Marathon, and I'm so proud of her. I mean, she's done basically a marathon in almost every state, and she's done Ironman in a bunch of different states. So she's total badass through and through. But what was funny was that she sent me a picture last night of her and her husband with another couple at a game, and they were all bundled up and, hats and everything. So it was chilly there. And, I was like, oh my gosh, I miss you so much. And then today I get the same picture texted to me by my cousin. And she says, oh my gosh, I didn't know that this was your Fatty. So they were there together at that game. And I didn't even put 2 and 2 together that they might have known one another through running. And so that was funny. So way to go, Heather. Yay. And for anyone who ran the Boston Marathon, the amazing accomplishment, and thanks to Boston for always hosting it. What an awesome place. I will definitely be there sometime. I would love to say I'm going to run that marathon, but if they would let me in, maybe I could just crawl, walk, trot, jog, do what, skip, any of it, just to have some fun. So I am looking at myself right now, and I cannot control the lighting from the natural light. So just so you know, proper makeup and lighting can make anyone look amazing, and they can also make anyone look not amazing. I'm going to go with, right now, it's iffy. So just know I am not, having mirrored anything out here. I'm just trying to do this efficiently so that I can maybe go to bed sometime tonight. Quote of the week. The quote of the week is, never underestimate the power of stupidity. And that is specific to me and my own stupidity. Some days I never cease to amaze myself of how ridiculous and dumb I can be. And I am not the type of person to half-ass. So when I go in, I go all in. I dive real deep, and I am going to illustrate some ways that is happening right now. But just for future notice, just don't ever underestimate someone's stupidity, because it can come out of nowhere at any point in time and just bitch slap you. And you'll be like, what? I know. what I'm loving this week. What I am loving this week is Peloton. A lot of people are haters on Peloton, the company. I am not going to get into that. I am going to tell you why I love Peloton. I have the app. I do have the Peloton bike. It was given to me many years ago before the pandemic, and thank God for this entire family that it was given to me, because I don't know if people would have survived, because I would have been cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs that much more. Anyway, I love the Peloton instructors. Anytime you take a class, they are motivating, they are smiling, they are, always talking about a sense of community. They're playing awesome music, and their classes are really hard. And they congratulate you for being there and for showing up and just trying. And you know what? I feel like every day we need to congratulate ourselves for showing up and trying. So, that's shitty lighting, isn't it? Whoa! I'm here again for another few minutes, and then we might have to move it around again. I will be really honest in saying I haven't been following the news at all. I have been inundated with car bullshit and people going places and people being sick. The bigger reason I am not in the know on the news is because I have got to focus all of my free time on the Stanley Cup playoffs, because as we know, they started Monday, and then yesterday was my dad's 80th birthday. So I've had a lot going on. I have not been able to watch all of the games. I am lucky that I myself have the NHL app and network so that I can go back and see the highlights and actually stream the games so that I can get caught up on things, just so I'm completely in the know. So I apologize. You're on your own this week for news. I'll be back next week with some great highlights, I'm sure. Surprise myself with how stupid I can be. I feel like there are two types of people in this world. Well, there are a lot of different types of people, but when it comes to cars, there are going to be two types of people. There are the people that drive smart cars and like smart cars. And then there are the people that are just better suited to dumb cars. I fall into the better suited for dumb car category. And we've heard over the episodes a lot about like my trials and tribulations with cars. I don't think all of it is on me. I think some of it is definitely circumstance. Now, the domino effect, however, of the car situation in our household has been like this. Tina the Tucson bid it. So now we're down a car. So my older son is driving my car, Taylor. I love my car. It is your basic old Honda Pilot. It is nothing fancy, but I love it. And so it has kind of pained me that they are now driving that. My husband drives Black Betty. I don't want to drive Black Betty because it's a sedan, and I like to be higher up. So we are down a car. I've been borrowing cars. Luckily, my sister-in-law allowed me to use her car while her daughter, my niece, was out of town. I'm borrowing a very nice, much nicer than my car from my sister-in-law. So I'm trying to be super careful. And within 5 hours, I was driving that car. I had to YouTube 3 different times, 3 different issues for the car that I could not figure out on my own. The first one was, where's the parking brake? It was not labeled at all. And every time I would YouTube it, it wasn't giving me what I needed. There were so many buttons. It was very confusing. Okay, fine. You're a dumbass. The second thing was I was able to put the car into 4 low. And I don't know what that means. I think maybe it's like a lower gear. But at that point, I was like, oh my God, the RPMs are going, and I couldn't go more than like 25 miles an hour. So I pull off and I'm like YouTubing all this stuff. I'm like, well, how did I get it? Fuck how I got into it. How do I get out of it? So I finally figured that out. I go on my merry way. I go to the grocery store, and I don't have that many groceries because we all know I hate going to the grocery store. So I'm just trying to get in and out as quickly as I can. And so I, of course, go ahead. I stand corrected. Yep. The blower's out right now. Next door neighbor. I mean, this is comedy. Comedy Central. I've literally had all of the neighbors around me, and there are many because we live in a cul-de-sac. Okay, so I push the key fob to say, open the trunk. I can't figure out how to open the damn trunk. And I'm sitting there and going from here to there and everywhere. And finally I'm like, oh my God, get me the fuck out of here. So I just put all the groceries in the back seat and I leave. Well, the trunk open door or light is on. I'm like, well, fuck, I don't know what to do. So luckily I don't live far from the grocery store. So I get home and I YouTube where's the trunk? Where's the trunk on this thing? Well, and I find out that the trunk no longer exists, okay, y'all? It's not called a trunk. It's called a rear door. And the rear door opens with these tiny little buttons that are not labeled. And that is fine. They shouldn't be labeled with warning lights or whatever, because that would look bad. I get it. But for some dumbasses like me that are like, wait, there's no trunk? Wait, there's a rear door? I thought that was like a sexual term for like your bum hole. So anyway, I figured that out. And by 6 o'clock on that Friday, I realized like, okay, I'm definitely a dumb person car. No. Yeah, I guess that Freudian slip was right. I am a dumb person, but I'm also a person that dumb cars are appropriate for, because it continued. So I go the weekend with my sister-in-law's car, and then we drive a few cars and we're trying to decide on a few things. And so my niece comes back into town, so I've got to give that car back. So my brother, they have 2 drivers in their family, yet they have 4 automobiles. Yes, you can do that math. And so he is taking me to drop off the one car, and then he's going to take me to his house to get another car. Well, as I'm getting my stuff out of my sister-in-law's car, there's like a red mark on the tan leather seats in the back seat. And I'm like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. I never sat in the back seat. No one sat in the back seat. I've literally had like my daughter's backpack. Like, how could this have happened? So now I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to pay for like crazy leather seats and blah, blah, blah. And I'm already frustrated with myself. So I'm like, God damn it, Nicole. So then we go to my brother's house and he's like, well, which do you want, the pick 'em up truck or the Jeep? I'm like, I totally want the Jeep. I don't want the pick 'em up truck. Not because I don't love pick 'em up truck. I do. But that is dog-eared for my like nephew. And so if anything, anyway, I wanted the Jeep. So I also wanted to look cooler. Anyway, the problem with the Jeep is that it is like a smart car, but it's B, on really, really tall, jacked up wheels that they use to like ride on the beach and stuff. So you're really high up, number one. Number two, like I just said, it's a smart car. So I'm in trouble there and we all know it. So there's this thing on the dash that says key fob not detected. And so I keep saying, Beast, it's saying this is not detected. He's like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. So I drive home, I go in the house, I am there for like 10 minutes and I get a call from my older son saying, hey, we're at the gas station. Taylor won't start. So I'm like, fuck. If he broke that car after 5 days of driving it, when I've driven that car for 5 years and nothing's happened, I am going to lose my shit. Now, this is all in the same day with the leather seats. 2 other things happened that I will tell you about that really offset the day. So this is towards the end of the day where I'm like kind of getting like impatient with stuff. I'm laughing otherwise. So we go up there and I pop the hood, get going on like jump starting the cars. When the car is so high up, the Jeep is so high up, I basically need a step stool. I mean, I'm not a midget, but that's how high it is. It's really high. And so then I'm looking around, I'm like, well, that looks like a battery and that looks like, are there 2 batteries in this Jeep? Fuck. Is it bad to jumpstart a battery if you don't know if it's the battery or not? Because we're at a gas station. I don't want to blow us all up. Luckily, there are some human beings in this world that are so kind and lovely. And this couple came over and the man was like, I will help you out. And I was like, thank God, because honestly, we could all die right now if unassisted. So we get the car going. I get the boys to follow me home. Don't turn the car off. I go, I get the battery tested. The battery's fine. The starter's fine. The alternator's fine. All of that's fine. So there's no rhyme or reason as to why Taylor didn't want to start other than my son was driving her. So I come home. We're done with that one for tonight. Okay, great. So I get up this morning and I have the bat and rat mitigation people here. And they are now going to clean out our attic above our bedroom with all the bat dung that is in there. And it is so much that it's actually going to take them several days to do, which is disgusting and disgusting. So anyway, I need to move the Jeep. I go out to the Jeep. I unlock the Jeep. I get in the Jeep. I put the key fob where my brother told me to do it because I'm follow directions. And the thing says, push the button and the brake to start. So I do that. And it does not start. The dashboard says, please use key fob to start car. So I do that. The car starts. And as soon as I press the brake to put it into reverse, it cuts off. And then I try and start it again. And the thing says, no, push the button and the brake to start the car. So I do. And then it says, no, use the key fob to start the car. So I do. And then it says, key fob not detected. And we go through that cycle about 25 times before I literally am about to like strangle myself because I'm an idiot. And so I FaceTime my brother. I show him all of this. And he's like, oh my God, don't do anything. I'll be over in a little bit. So I go to get out of the Jeep and I forget that I'm like 5 feet off the ground and fall flat on my face into the driveway because I forgot that I'm so high up and I'm used to getting out of my car. And so that sucked. I know with cars, I should just have a motorized bike, but then that's going to open up a whole other can of worms. So right now, I know this to be true. I need a 2017 or below because I can't deal with anything more in the smart car world, period. I did listen to a podcast recently, and it was actually like 2 days ago, and this econ professor did this study about taxes, and he wanted to see if you could still pay your taxes with cash, not just writing a check, but I mean like cash. So if like you owed $238.72, like you would come with exact change and like be able to pay it. And there is a huge process that you have to go through in order to do this, actually. And so he was detailing the process, and I was riveted. I was like, oh my gosh, who would have thought? Oh wow, da 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 da. But he did this whole experiment to illustrate that as we are moving to a cyber currency world, there is still a fundamental need for cash because all of the cyber stuff runs on electricity. Even if it's battery powered, at a certain point, the batteries will die. So we will need another alternative, i.e. cash. So he is saying, yes, let's still have both. So as we are trying to get away from cash, I think we're going to get a resurgence of that, much like CDs or vinyl albums, where everyone was like, what the fuck do we do with this stuff? And now everyone's like, ooh, I want my vinyls. This is my way of saying smart things are great in this world, but dumb things are still great too. And I put myself in that category because even though I'm kind of dumb, I think I'm pretty fucking great. Using a lot of dry shampoo because I don't wash my hair all the time and blah, blah, blah. And somehow I was looking through a mirror and I saw the back of my head. And I realized that I now have turned into the old lady who has like the hump in the back of the hair where like the hairbrush, it's not flattening down. And so you can tell, oh, that person did not wash their hair last night. Oh, that person might not have actually done anything to themselves today. And that looks really stupid. It just was a little alarming to me because we all know I'm this 26-year-old trapped in this 40-something body. And that just felt really like, you know, old person. And that is not a category I fit into. Deep thought number 2. The weather is changing. It is getting warmer. I only wore adult onesies last summer because I couldn't get dressed or do anything with my arm because I was in a sling. Well, I am not in as good a shape as I was last summer pre-surgery. So my adult onesies, A, aren't quite right for the weather, and B, more importantly, are not flattering. Are not flattering in any light, in any room, anywhere. So if you have any ideas on places to shop that I can do online, I am all ears. And P.S., I don't want to fucking look like a frumpy dump, okay? I need like flattering clothing for someone who's not 17, but also not 77. I was scent shamed yesterday. I've never been scent shamed. I had to go to a specialized dentist that does not take insurance, of course, because I have such a teeth grinding problem that I am, my jaw is like deteriorating and I'm cracking teeth. I know. When I do things, I go all fucking in, okay? I'm a professional. So anyway, I go to this appointment and I am not looking forward to it at all. And I walk in and there's a sign that says, if you have any scents on you, lotions or perfumes, please refrain from using them. So I'm like, well, I do because I showered before I went there. So I walk in, I was like, well, I guess, they'll let me know if it's too much or whatever. So I'm there for like 45 minutes. And then the person who's working on me leaves. She has a mask on. And then I'm by myself for a little bit. And then somebody else comes in and she's trying to work on me a little bit. And then the doctor comes in and says, hey, listen, the next time you come, could you not wear any perfume or anything that's scented at all? Because I've got one of my employees is having an asthma attack. Another one is nauseous and I'm not feeling so great either. So I'm like, oh, yes, I'm so sorry. And meanwhile, I'm stuck in this chair. I've been poked prod all over the place. So now I feel like a dick, but I also feel a little angry because I'm being treated like I purposefully came in knowingly and was like, I'm wearing my perfume and I'm going to fuck them up. Assumed someone would say, hey, actually, we smell your perfume. We need to reschedule because we have such big allergies here. Or maybe they'd have wipes where they'd be like, hey, could you just wipe down and maybe that'll get some of the scent. P.S. One of the scents was dry shampoo. I did not do that on purpose and I felt terrible. But then nobody would talk to me other than what was the bare minimum to be asked and told. And so at the end, after I'm shelling out a lot of fucking money for these apparatuses that better fucking work, I said, listen, I'm really sorry about your coworkers. And the woman said, okay, thank you. And I left there and I was with my tail between my legs, fuck this. And I know I shouldn't be upset about it because it was on me. But at the same time, I just feel like I cannot be the first person that has come there with a scent that has been triggering someone's asthma. The reason why I have the scent is so you don't smell BO or anything else. I don't know. I've just never been scent shamed. And that's a new one for me. So I'm going to be more mindful now, but just be aware. That is becoming a thing. So if you see that sign, you better be prepared. In fact, you might want to go in proactively if you don't want to be scent shamed and say, do you smell me in any way, shape, or form? Do I smell bad? Do I smell good? Is it too much? Because if so, I really don't want to upset anybody and send them into an asthmatic attack. So I don't know. I was sad about it. I still am, actually. So I didn't mean to.